Welcome to the first episode, Alpha Unleashed podcast. I've brought my very good friend Jordan Sherlock with me today. We've hired a studio here to do it properly, and thank you for coming, Jordan. So Jordan, I actually met here in the early days of moving over to Dubai, and we hit it off. We've had a bit of a very fun experience over the last 2 years-ish. We both came kind of thinking it would be a bit of a holiday, didn't we? So tell me about your experience and why you're here.
Yeah, so far so good. So the reason why I'm here is I've been sick and tired of the same life that I was living for 8 years, in the same industry, doing security systems, a bit lost with life. I wanted to change, so I thought, let's go to Australia. Australia's borders were obviously closed, so this was literally the only place that was open during COVID. Came here for 5 nights and absolutely loved it, and here ever since.
It was pretty good in COVID, wasn't it? I mean, the UK was an absolute shit show, and I did exactly the same. Came over in COVID, only really, I was actually going to go to Futurventura on my own, just to run my online business, chill in the sun, go for walks, and have a week on my own. And then actually a client at the time said, who lives in Dubai, said, oh, why don't you come here? It's pretty normal here. So I thought, yeah, why not? I'd done it before on a holiday. Thought, well, the weather's good there in winter as well. And and the rest is history, really.
Yeah, and like that's the same with me. Like I said, five nights I came, was due to go back. And I was like, with the COVID situation at home, I was only allowed out for 1 hour. I don't know if that was the same in the UK.
Yeah, it was. I don't know anyone stuck to it, but it was the rule.
Yeah. Best decision I ever done.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously my goal was to come into the fitness industry after being in the same industry for 8 years. Supposed to go to Australia. Obviously the borders were shut. Came here, met the likes of you, and just fell in love with the life and obviously the job that I'm doing today.
Yeah. So tell us about that transition from the job. Obviously you were in a good job, earning good money, good at it.
Yeah.
There's always that sort of mix, isn't there, between what you enjoy and what is going to pay well.
Yeah,
so
of course. Like when I was growing up, I was chasing money and money only. So my values was get money, live a better lifestyle. And then I had a moment when I was back in my old job back in Ireland, and I was like, even if I was to earn an extra 15, 20k, would this make my life better? And I was like, no chance. Like, to be told that you can only have 21 to 28 days holidays a year was a no-no for me. So I did make a big step going to the fitness industry, being in the same industry 8 years. Obviously money is a big factor because I need to make a living. So obviously when I came here, I still picked up the similar job that I was doing just to build an income, start building clients in my apartment gym, and then I just made a transition from the business that I was in into the PT world.
It's tough, isn't it? I think that's what a lot of people struggle to take that risk. And I've been having a chat with someone that is in my program that works with me, and he wants to leave his full-time job, a stable income, and obviously if you get advice from, say, your parents, it would be not to take a risk. Like, they want stability for you, don't they? It's, oh no, 9 to 5, get a good pension, blah, and then retire at that age, and neither of us want that life, do we?
That's it. And that's what's it, like, obviously I love my parents, but that was something that they were telling me to do. Get in, do your apprenticeship, make a good wage, and they don't want you in a dead-end job, because the fitness industry was always considered a dead-end job.
Yeah, well, not long-term.
Not long-term. So, but in fairness, I did get the backing when I told them my state of mind. I felt a bit lost. I was like, doing something that I'm not passionate about, waking up on a Monday, dreading going into work, and then obviously Friday comes, you're living for the weekend, and I was just sick of that cycle. So for anybody that's out there doing the same thing, I'm not necessarily saying quit your job and then just go into something else, but build something on the side, wherever that is, whatever your passion is, just go for it, because we're a long time dead.
Yeah, well, what is the worst that can happen, really? Like you say, especially if you build it alongside, if it kicks off, great, you then have the backing to jump ship, or if it doesn't, you're in the same position, really, aren't you?
Exactly, yeah, that's it.
So you were meant to go to Australia. You came here. What do you really love about Dubai, and why is it you're now looking, because I know you're looking pretty long term here. What do you love about Dubai? Is there any things that maybe negatives you don't like so much?
Yeah, so first and foremost, obviously the sun helps. Waking up every day, your mood is 10 times better. Yeah, the people that I've met. Now, obviously I have great friends at home, and they're always going to be my best mates. But the people that I've met here now, like yourself, like some of the other lads, I'm like, wow, my brain is opening a bit more. I can see what's possible. Things that I really dislike, just the traffic.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
It's literally just the traffic. Like when I sit there and say, what do I actually dislike about the place? There's not much that comes to mind. And definitely can see myself here for the next 5-10 years, maybe even longer. Who knows? What about yourself?
Well, I came as a holiday and thinking, right, I'll go 2 to 4 weeks, and then I'd sort of extended right to the end of my holiday visa, and just playing golf out here, because obviously I love golf. Like, the courses are insane. The social scene is incredible, isn't it? I don't think there'll be many places that are better.
Yeah.
So it's that social aspect, and just generally, like we spoke about this a lot, the negativity of a lot of people at home, like, you know, the weather, and just generally in jobs, going to the same pubs every week, and like you say, waking up, just there is so much negativity, and the news is just full of negativity, loads of crime. Obviously we don't get crime here really.
That's it. Like where I'm originally from, my town is about a mile long, and there's 6-7 pubs, 2 or 3 bookies, and about 3 or 4 takeaways. That's fucking it.
Yeah.
So when you say about the social scene over here, it is amazing. Like, it's not just about going to the same place. The beach clubs, yacht parties, rooftop bars. Honestly, it's the best thing. Oh yeah, actually, everywhere I've been so far that I've travelled, there's no place like this. No place like this. Now I'm well travelled, so I've been to places in the States, I've been to Australia, I've been to main cities in Europe, and the lifestyle here for work and lifestyle is top class.
Yeah, there is nothing better. I just remember when I came out here and I met people, and just thinking, Jesus, it's like you're in holiday mode all the time. Like, you're so fortunate to be here. And then after I got an invite back, a friend actually invited me back only a month after I went back home for Christmas, and said, why don't you come back out in January? Someone else we knew was coming out. And I just thought, no, I want to get my head down, want to work. And I thought, hang on, I was working fine out here. I thought January is probably the shittiest month in the UK. No one really wants to do anything. The weather's poor. We've just had Christmas. And I just thought, no, why not? And then for me, I just, in that period of time then, I thought, no, I can live here. Why wouldn't I? I've made so many friends in a short space of time. And then obviously the lockdown came, and I ended up spending about eight or so months here straight, where it was on the red list. I thought, well, I have to pay, I think it was about nearly $2,000 to do a hotel quarantine during COVID in a dingy, shitty hotel, or I can spend about $2,000 and get a month's accommodation at a decent place with a marina view here. Like, no brainer.
It's no brainer. Can you see yourself here long term?
Yeah, I can, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. Like you, I love to travel. We did obviously a nice bit of travel last summer as well. So I think for me, it's leaving the summer, see family, spend time in the UK, and just bounce around Europe a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, we had a good trip in Bali, didn't we?
Unbelievable. The only thing about, like, obviously, like you said, we've travelled, so we were 3 months in Bali. The only thing that I struggled with was a solid routine. Like, the online PT, it's great. You get to travel wherever you want, but it is hard to get into that sort of routine of work-life balance. So, like, when I was in Bali, I was just maintaining what I had. I had no motivation to do content and grow the business. It was just a matter of fact of, I'm happy what I have. I don't really want to do anything.
It was very, very tough. And for me, I majority of my client base in the UK, which was 7 hours behind, I was taking calls with clients. I was taking new sales calls at 3-4 in the morning sometimes, and then not really getting to experience the travel, nor go all in with the business either. So that's the only downside, really. Like, you're never fully immersed in either. And then we were getting to the weekend, obviously social out there, beach clubs. Every weekend was getting hammered and grafted women. And then in the week was like, shit, right now really hammering work. So I found myself not really exploring much, but really hard in work, and then really hard in boozing and enjoying ourselves, which was obviously great and very fortunate.
Where would you like to go in the summer this time around?
Oh, I'd love to go back to Marbella.
Now, the reason why we go away in the summer is because the weather here is
stinking hot,
terrible. I done one summer here before. I think you've done one summer as well.
Yeah.
And my God, Like you come out of your apartment and you just sweat like that.
Never experienced anything like it. Mental. It's like a hairdryer in your face 24/7.
So Marbella.
I'd love to do Marbella. I mean, you spoke about like Spain and Madrid maybe and stuff like that, didn't you?
Yeah, I was thinking about Spain and Madrid. I actually have a client that is going over to Madrid who has a family home over there, and she did mention about going over to her for a couple of weeks if I'm in the area. So I'm thinking about doing Madrid, Spain, definitely Europe. I think this time around.
Yeah, it's perfect in the summer, isn't it? For sure. That was the only thing with Bali. Bali, it wasn't the best time of year to be there, really, was it?
No.
Weather wasn't amazing.
No. But I did think, remember we were talking to our taxi driver. He did say it generally is decent at that time, but like you said, it rained every day.
Yeah, pretty much.
10, 15
cloudy
minutes,
every afternoon.
Cloudy. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah.
And I was missing all of the morning because I was basically going to bed at sometimes 5 a.m. after doing calls, generally between 3 and 4. And then I wasn't getting up to about 11. And everyone was saying, oh, it's beautiful in the morning. So I said, I haven't seen
Never
them.
slept. I was quite fortunate because most of my clients are in Dubai.
Yeah.
You have the 8 hours from UK and Bali?
7, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was 3 or 4 in
3
Dubai.
or 4 for Dubai.
Yeah, so it was absolutely ideal
Not
for me.
No problem, no. For me, I see the rest of my life really settling in Dubai, having it as a hub, and just travelling around, which is the joy of being online, isn't it?
100%.
And when we think back to like what you said at the start, being in a job you don't like, that you don't have the freedom, you've got to ask permission to even go away at a weekend, and maybe that gets rejected if you want a long weekend. Yeah. For me, I was at that point, but I have luckily always done what I enjoyed because I went straight into the fitness industry from university. So but although I really enjoyed it, again, I was in the gym for 60 to 75 hours a week, depending on exactly how many sessions or where they were scattered around, or if I had to catch up on some, if someone maybe cancelled or whatever. And for me, I was living for the weekend, even in a job I loved. And I remember when I first realised that travel was the most important thing to me, or my most thing I like to enjoy most. It was when I wanted to go travelling for 5 or 6 weeks with a friend. We'd both come out of really long-term relationships, and we were like, right, we could do Thailand.
Did you say a long-term relationship?
Yeah, I do sometimes have them, yeah. So 5.5-year relationship, kind of reached a point where I just didn't think it was quite for me. And I wanted to basically be single, quite frankly, and have a break from that. So we both were a little bit lost as the terms after we both had long-term relationships and very similar time. And we wanted to go away. And I had to, even though I was a PT, not paid by them, 100% commission, I still had to ask permission. And it was basically refused. And they said, oh, you can have 2 weeks. I was like, I need longer. I said, at the end of the day, they were getting commission off of every client I had.
Yeah.
So I was making them a load of money. And they're like, well, no, 2 weeks is the rule. And in the end, I said to them, I'm going to go for this. And they sort of agreed on 5. So because obviously I'm making the money, they didn't want to leave me. So that automation worked. But then it was actually nearly 6 weeks. So I pushed it, and then they actually gave me a disciplinary.
How many PTs had you got a week then?
I was delivering about 35 sessions a week.
Right, so it's intense.
It is. When people are hearing that, maybe they're not personal trainers, will think 35 hours, well, I'll do a 40-hour week. Yeah. But when you think 35 hours as a personal trainer,
you have to get that 1 hour.
Start at 6 or 6:30. You might have 2 sessions, 3 sessions, then you have a half an hour break, and then you have 1 or 2, and then you might have a 4-hour gap in the middle of the day where you might train, eat, shower, create some content, plan sessions, tap in with a couple of clients. I used to do it where I then text the clients from the previous day, how they were going, blah blah, and then you have the evening stint where I'd have like normally a 4:30 and a 5:30, and then I'd have a half an hour off, and then I'd literally have like bang 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 up to 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock would be my finish. So you have no life. And I just remember thinking to myself, if I have a family, I'm not seeing them till the weekend. I'm out all day. And for me, it was always a case of I wanted to transition online. I wanted to have an online business. And I was thinking, right, well, if I have X amount here from online, X amount from PT, it's a good wage, and I could reduce my hours. But obviously it went better than I ever could have dreamed, to the point where it just wasn't worth me doing that anymore. And now working online gives us that ability.
Do you miss PTing?
I do miss that. It was some of my best friends back at home in the UK were from being clients.
Yeah,
you build such a rapport, don't you? And
money talks, does it?
it was just like you're talking to someone every day, all day, every day.
I know,
and it's great, isn't it? So that I do miss that element. But what I think a lot of people don't realise is you generally get way better results online than you would face to face, because at the end of the day, 2 hours a week in the gym, maybe with a PT, or 3, whatever it might be, it's the other 260 odd hours that make the difference. When most people are obviously looking for fat loss, I understand, like, when you're teaching someone execution of an exercise, skill acquisition, you need to learn the techniques because it's a skill. But once you do that, or if you kind of know how to do it anyway, then it's really accountability and support you're paying for, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. But for me now, because where I am at my stage of the journey, PTing is massive for me. Like, if I just went straight online, which a lot of people just do, I would miss out on so much. Like, for an example, if I'm coaching women, I know exactly what part of the gym they feel uncomfortable in because I can see it. Now, if I'm doing programming for somebody and I'm gathering questions, I know what part of the gym they may be struggling with. So obviously, if there's a new woman that's coming for me for coaching, the last thing I'm going to do is have her where all the lads are, where the heavy dumbbells are.
They're intimidated,
do a
aren't they?
little circuit in the corner, 4 or 5 different exercises, and just build their confidence. Stuff like that I would never pick up on. Even though I've been training all my life, really, since I'm like 16, 17, I would never pick up on that. So that's why it's been fundamental for me to stick with personal trainer for now.
I think it's very important. I mean, I was on the gym floor for 10 or 11 years, doing that many sessions since month 3 of doing it. I got straight up to maximum diary after 2.5 months. So delivered literally, I think I worked it out at being 11,500 personal training sessions in that time. And that 100% for that exact reason is key. And just exercise execution, knowing actually, this client struggles to feel this muscle in this area, but doing this variation, they feel it more.
Exactly.
And stuff, and anything like that.
Yeah. How would you normally set somebody up who is brand new to the gym? If they're coming to you online and they're brand new to the gym,
never been to the gym,
but they want to go to the gym, how would you set them up?
Start with the absolute basics, and exactly like what you said, what are they comfortable doing? I remember actually an online client but lived locally. I met up with her actually to go into the gym because she had a massive fear of it. So we met up there, and I knew that as soon as I got in there and she had one session, I just showed her a few things, that'd be it. But like you say, like a lot of people just program, right, single arm row in the dumbbell area, get on the cables. They don't know how to fucking adjust the cable machine, let alone use it. So like you said, do something simple. It's got to be you've got to walk before you can run effectively, don't you? So do the most simple things, and I think ask them, what are you willing to do, what you're not willing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And generally, if it's a fat loss thing, it is fairly irrelevant, isn't it, what they're doing from that point. Like, get the fundamentals with the diet first. If they see weight dropping off them and they're going to the gym, they're going to get the buy-in that it's actually working for once, where a lot of people spinning the wheels, aren't they? Not really getting anywhere.
Yeah, and that in fairness, that's a mistake I kind of done at the start, was giving too much too early. So for an example, if a guy or girl came to me that had no experience in the gym, I would give them stuff that they were uncomfortable with. Yeah. And then I was like, right, let's dial it back now. Let's just do 2 sessions a week, doing the exact same exercises, and that's it. So essentially, I'm not looking to feed, I need to give them this because it makes me feel like I'm a better coach. Or a matter of fact, they're fine just doing machines.
It hasn't got to be the most optimal thing, is it? It's got to be what they're happy to do. It's like, we'd love to get every client doing barbell hip thrusts.
Exactly.
They don't want to set the bar up on the floor and pick up the big weights and all that. They're not going to do it. So it's finding that right balance for sure, isn't it, when it comes to that?
That's it.
So do you see yourself always try and do some in person?
Yeah, the reason why is because I noticed when I went away to Bali for 3 months, obviously I wasn't PTing then, and then when I came back, I felt like I was sharpening the tools again. So when I was going through different exercises, having different conversations, I just felt like, I'm picking back up on it now. So for the time being, definitely yes, because I absolutely love it. Like, put it this way, as you know, I work Saturdays and I work Sunday mornings. And if it was any other job, I'd be like, fuck this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But because you enjoy it.
But because I love it, like I get up in the morning, like let's get it. Like I absolutely love it. I love the people that I coach, and yeah, so that's something I'll be doing for the time being.
Yeah, I remember, it just popped in my head now, but there was a going back to that whole like trading off like enjoyment, money, because like you say, we have to earn money. We'll work for money.
Of course, yeah.
But I remember it's said that there's that sort of, I guess, that peak of income where when you then earn over that, you don't actually get any more satisfaction. And I think it's about £80,000 because that gives you a great deal of freedom, etc. Because there is a lot of people that earn an incredible amount of money, don't they? But they fucking hate every day they're at work.
Of course,
or there's that book, 4 Hour Working Week. There's some people working 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
Slaving away in a job that they're making an absolute fortune.
Yeah,
for
exactly, and that's why I said I was fortunate, because when I had that conversation with myself and I was on a decent wage, I could say, if I got an extra 15, 20,000, would that make my life better? Not really. Like what could I get? An expensive watch maybe, more clothes, expensive clothes. So I was quite fortunate that I copped onto, like, even if I got an extra 20k on my wage, no chance.
Yeah. On the other side of the coin, there's obviously people that are in something they really enjoy that isn't so well paid. So it's definitely a sweet spot there. But the amount of people that, I mean, if you're working, say you generally have to put 25 hours into your work, but you really enjoy it, and you're making 6 figures, I'd pick that any time over earning 3-4 million and grafting 60 hours and something I hate.
Yeah.
Because I think it comes back to that. Earning 100 grand a year is plenty to have a very good lifestyle.
Of course.
Like
even if I look at it, like I look at my morning routine compared to my old morning routine. So obviously when I'm in my old job, I get up, shower, change, in the car, stuck in traffic, work. Here now is I wake up, shower, go for a walk, grab a coffee, then coach my first client. Stress levels have just gone straight down.
And you mould your diary, don't you? You have it how you want, which is why now I'm not having to get up at 5 after being in the gym till 10, getting 5 hours sleep, which is not enough for me.
Exactly.
Whereas now I literally work around the hours that are best for me, and because I'm a night owl, so I work very well at night. I'm happy working till 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Whereas if I get straight out of bed, I'm groggy. I couldn't train at that time. I can't work at that time. So I need that hour. And then I feel like I can get into that. But it can be our detriment a little bit as well, can't it? When you're not having to be accountable to someone, it's you. It can be, especially online, it can be quite a lonely industry.
Oh, 100%.
Just you, your laptop. Yeah, you can bounce around coffee shops, but you don't have that social interaction like you do in a lot of workplaces.
No, definitely not. And that's why we're fortunate with a lot of coaches in our industry. It's a lot of people are close. Where if you go into like different industries, say for an example, my own industry was like the security industry. If I was a sales guy and there was another sales guy and there was another sales guy, we're all competing as well, but they're competing at a level where it can be a bit nasty, where us is just totally different, isn't it?
This is what I think is good. I say good. There is obviously, it's not everyone like that, but when, like, obviously we both have mentors, we're in mentorships, and a lot of the key part of that is the actual networking, isn't it? And we know obviously a lot of coaches, online coaches out here in Dubai as well. What I find is people want to actually help each other, whereas in maybe other industries, they're trying to knock you down constantly. Obviously, you're going to get that in this industry as well, but generally the people doing well want to actually help other people. And normally the ones that are digging out and trying to pull people back are the ones that aren't doing so well.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to ask you a little bit about experiences with dating in Dubai in general, stuff like that. Obviously, it's something you've done out here, and generally just moving this towards like dating in general, marriage. I want to know your opinions on stuff like that.
Yeah, so marriage, I don't see the point personally. If you're asking me, if I'm being honest, like I'm not gonna lie, like and say, oh, it's the best thing ever. I don't see the value in it. Now I do see the value in obviously having a loved one, having kids, and that's your family. But putting a ring on a finger, what does that mean, really? Because I think is it something like 50% maybe marriages, or just slightly less?
It's apparently 45 in the UK. 45% of marriages end in divorce.
So it doesn't really make a difference. You just should be loyal anyway.
Well, out of the 55 that actually are currently not divorced, how many of them do you think are actually happy?
Exactly. And this is the thing, right, with relationships, right? And I see this all the time, and I've probably been guilty in it in the past as well. Is when you invest so much time in somebody for 3 or 4 years, you kind of say, well, I'm being with them 3 or 4 years, so I may as well just keep it going because I've invested that time, 3 or 4 years in the relationship. And that's why I think a lot of relationships are a bit fucked up.
Well, there's definitely. I mean, I know this from the amount of time I spent on the gym floor, and clients will tell you everything, like how, about them not being happy, etc. And I remember this one woman in particular, who wasn't a client, but when I was on the gym floor in the first couple of years, and she was in a relationship with a guy, not happy. They didn't speak. They hated each other's guts. They slept in separate bedrooms, but she wasn't leaving him. And I was like, why?
Yes, the time they invested.
That's my house as well.
Yeah.
Like, obviously she'd have to move out. Also, to just surrender to a life of misery then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this is it. And especially, have they got kids?
Yeah.
So for an example, right, if growing up, and if you have 2 unhappy parents in the household, and you think it's a good idea to be in a relationship to keep the kids happy, obviously it's great to have your mother and father in the same house, but you're not better off being 2 happy parents.
Exactly.
Because kids see everything, yeah? When you grow up,
they know if you're happy or not.
You pick up and stuff, and you know if something's not right. So I just think you're better off. It's easier. Look, I understand it. It is easier. It's easier said than done. It is easier said than done. Why do you think most relationships break up?
I think some...
I know that sounds like a vague question.
Unpopular opinion, but I think... And this is something which held me back in kind of really committing to and actually getting in a relationship, because I think someone will come in your life and they will serve you for a certain period of your life.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes it goes a lot longer, but it's okay because we're going to change. Like, how you are especially people that meet maybe in their early 20s, how you are when you're 17, 18, 19, early 20s to how you're going to be at 30, 35 are very different.
Of course, yeah.
So it might just be a case of you're just not that compatible anymore.
Yeah.
But like what you said, that the more somebody invests into something, whether it be monetary, time, the harder it is to let it go. And that is clear in relationships, people staying together. And obviously there's things you have to work through.
Of course.
But the amount of people that are in a relationship which does not serve them, and they're just too scared.
Yeah.
And again, maybe a little bit harsh, but women especially struggle to be on their own as a rule. I'm generalising. I think they need, a lot of women that I know need to be in a relationship. They don't feel comfortable on their own. And I think you've got to really be comfortable on your own. You need to learn how to be comfortable on your own, because if you're not comfortable on your own, then you're probably not going to be your best anyway, are you?
Yeah, exactly. How do you find dating and Tinder over here?
I used Tinder over here early days of Dubai. I haven't been on it for a long time, since maybe about a year now.
Okay.
Firstly, because Tinder was just full of prostitutes.
There was, yeah.
But so Bumble and Hinge I found were better, but the issue with it is catfish galore, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
When you look at them, you think, do they really look like that these days?
Yeah. Or if you see one picture and they have bunny ears, and you go on the date, we have bunny ears.
The chance of them looking how they do in their photos is very unlikely, isn't it? Like,
why do you think that is the case? Obviously, it is insecurities, but
I think social media is a very good thing in general, but it's how you use it, isn't it?
Of course.
The whole perfectionism thing, women looking at other women, seeing the perfect Instagram image and stuff like that, feeling not worthy enough. But the problem I have, and I remember a girl I used to work with back at the gym, so she was receptionist, and there's a lot more apps out nowadays, but we're talking probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. Her friend was, she said she's, say, a size 16 or so. She used to use this app to chop her arm in half and to be able to shrink herself down to look, say, like a size 10. She would go on dates and then get ghosted after the first date and wonder why.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being a size 16, and some men are going to be looking for that.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't put yourself as a size 10 because someone who wants a size 10 is going to turn up,
Yeah.
and they might not want a girl that's a size 16.
Yeah.
So you're wasting both your time.
Yeah. So basically what they're doing here is they're looking for short-term happiness when they have, I look good in this photo, but then when reality hits and you go on this date, it's like, what's going on here? And it's not just women.
Oh,
it's men as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we know many people, don't we? We've had a discussion here where, because we know them in real life, when we look at their Instagram, we have quite a laugh about it because it's not the same person, is it? And it'd be interesting because me and Izzy know this girl, and she apparently opened up to him, and she was saying about how she actually uses other girls' photos. Like there's a girl in particular who looks like her from behind, and she will use her photo on her Instagram. It's not even her, and she screen records like videos of on First Class and stuff like that, and uploads it on her story, pretending that she is on First Class.
It's crazy.
Like, how fucking bonkers
that is crazy.
How sad is that?
Have you seen this app? I think it's obviously bigger over here because it's more for the sugar daddies.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen this app?
I haven't.
I can't think of the name of the app off the top of my head. But I actually
women looking for sugar daddies.
The women looking for sugar daddies. Now I downloaded it just to have a look to see if I could spot.
Are you at sugar daddy status yet?
No,
I'm not sure you are.
a few more years. But I could fake it. I could fake it. So I can't think of the name of the app, but basically on the app, I downloaded it first and foremost just to get a feeler for who's actually on this app, and I did spot one or two people on it. So on this app, the women would obviously have their profile up, and underneath the profile and their bio they would have their gifts, so what they want. So they list off like the handbag, a particular pair of glasses, and stuff like this, which is crazy.
Shame there's not a version for us.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I'd sell myself for another rollie, no problem.
But it's crazy. This obviously I would never see this at home. I would never be exposed to this at home. This sort of what goes on here. Again, where I live is country town. But to see what people do in return for money is crazy.
Out here in Dubai, you get so much of that, don't you? And I mean, you know what? I don't have an issue with it. Like,
no.
It's not. I mean, the woman's not sleeping with someone for money. At the end of the day, if this sado wants a bit of company, wants someone to talk to, and it's got more money than sense, and is happy to spend money on them, why not? Like someone I know, her friend has a sugar daddy in the States. She lives here, and he'll send her Louis Vuitton bag, or buy a Louis Vuitton bag. He'll just send her $500 here and there. She never has to meet him. She just texts him. I mean, is there any harm in that?
No, but
it's weird.
It is.
Don't get me wrong.
What do you like? Is it prostitution if they're sending pictures?
Well, I don't know if she's sending pictures.
I'm
assuming they want something.
I do not care what you're saying. There's something happening there. He may live there, but there must be something that's. She has to be doing something. He's not just giving out of his goodness of his heart. Well, most men don't. Most men are looking for something. Let's be serious here.
And I'm sure they are. I mean, I'll not name a name because in case people clock on. But so this one girl met someone on a date in Dubai, English guy, and she said she'd kind of liked him, blah blah. And then towards the end of the date, like, she was happy to see him again. And then he basically just offers a proposition to sleep with her for X amount of money. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, in time, I probably would have slept with him anyway.
Yeah.
I like the guy, I find him attractive, but he's just blown it. It was like I don't know, like he just assumed I need to do this. Like there is a lot of women. I mean, it surprised me when I first came over here how many prostitutes there are in Dubai. Like you walk down the street, they're everywhere. Considering like you'd think it would be the last place.
Exactly.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's exactly. Like the 5 Palm is just full.
Outside, blah blah.
What do you think of women on OnlyFans?
I think it depends what you're putting on it. But at the end of the day, the ones earning money are putting on everything, aren't they? Like, and I remember seeing the TV show, and it was talking about, it was talking to some of the girls making big money on it. And a lot of them go on there because they think, I'll just put some raunchy photos on and stuff. But men aren't really going to be paying to see that, are they? At the end of the day, they can go on a porn site as well. But I guess it just gets out of control. And the money being made by some of these girls is mental. Yeah. Is mental. But my opinion is, like, if you're doing explicit things on there, you have to be prepared for your mother, father, future children to see that and be happy with what you're doing. Because it will, if you put it online, even if it's on a platform that's meant to be private, it can be out there. Yeah. So, like, if you're going to sell your soul for that, because I think, like, if you have a son or a daughter, and then that's kids are fucking horrible. Like, that will get shared around school. Exactly. And they'll, you know, that could make that.
I think OnlyFans is a bit more. It can, like, you can nearly target a specific part of the world, couldn't you?
I don't know.
So, for an example, you could have your Instagram page and be following men from, say, Australia, and then you could put a private story on, tell them what you do, and then they buy your service on that. So nobody from...
You seem to know a lot about this.
Yeah, I have an account. No.
Link in the description.
Would you ever date a girl that was on or is doing OnlyFans?
Probably not, no. Again, it depends what they're doing. But if they're on OnlyFans, they're probably doing more than what I would want them to be doing. So no, I personally wouldn't.
Yeah. And just something that I do want to state is, I don't sit there and say that, like, oh, you're disgusting. Like you don't know where people are coming from.
No.
So for an example, you could have a girl that is obviously very attractive, that comes from a poor family, will never have money to go to college. She's living off scraps, and you do see why they do it. Yeah,
definitely.
100%.
You're never going to earn that sort of money.
No, never. So I don't sit there and say, oh, that's disgusting, or you do what you have to do at the end of the day.
Oh, some of these girls, and I know guys can make a lot out of it as well, but a lot of these girls are living an incredible life. Yeah. An incredible life that literally just have to take a few pictures in the shower and do a few naughty videos or whatever, and they're making tens of thousands of pounds every month, having to not work too much. But it opened my eyes when I watched this program on it, because I thought, right, it's just a subscription monthly, you stick on stuff, people will eventually get bored. But it's mad how a lot of it is like, you know, DMing, getting private requests and stuff like that. It's crazy. But it's funny as well, isn't it, how men are like, you wouldn't get...
Men are creeps, by the way.
Yeah.
Remember, I don't know.
Fuckers,
this story's after popping from my head. I don't know who told me. Definitely one of the girls told me. Where one man, I text her on Instagram, and he says, I'll pay you X amount of money if I can come over and wash your feet.
Really? Wow. What the fuck? I mean, I wouldn't want...
Come around and wash my feet if you want.
To be honest, I wouldn't want anything to do with someone washing my feet in person. I wouldn't advise that. But I know numerous girls that have had people like wanting to send their used underwear.
Yeah, what?
One of my friends the other day, right, had one just wanted to send their... just want you to send their socks. Like, obviously got a foot fetish. Like, what, 50 quid? Why not? I'd send my socks for 50 quid. Why not? I don't need them. It's just so odd, isn't it? So yeah, there are some weirdos out there. I mean, sorry if someone listening has a fetish, fair, but like, you wouldn't get a straight woman, paying
a man for smelly socks.
No, I don't think you would you? Or even joining an OnlyFans account.
Do you want my gym socks?
Maybe we should test it out, but I just can't see it happening.
Set up a stripe.
Payment link. No, I just don't see it. But only I mean, this day and age, it's so normalised, isn't it? So at the end of the day, I think that everyone's got their own human rights to do what they want. I just think a lot of people will do it and maybe not think about the consequences, because they see all this money, the people earning crazy money on there, but that's the top probably 0.1%.
Yeah, of course.
I bet there's a lot of people going on there, getting rooted on camera, putting out there, sold their soul, and they can't reverse that, and they probably earn 50 quid a month from it.
Yeah.
I honestly believe probably the majority.
That outreach.
Yeah, you got to get that VA in the DMs.
Get that VA.
It's funny you say about that.
You could do it, couldn't you?
Yeah, well, it's funny you say, because obviously we know people that have chosen to go on there, and how their strategies are now with like, let's create the close friends, all the males, and then put some, I don't know, tell people about it, put pictures up, whatever, and get people in that way. But
yeah, it's crazy.
It's a business at the end of the day, and one that's pretty successful.
That's it. Well, look, moving on from that for now, something that we want to discuss was our industry and the steroids situation, which is massive over here. Would you agree?
Yeah, there's so many people out there, aren't there, that are claiming that this transformation's come from just hard work, consistency, and a lot of people obviously juicing up and lying about it.
Yeah. See, the thing about it is, I couldn't care less about if you're on it or not. That doesn't stop me from judging a person. Let's make that clear. But it's the false narrative of, I've worked so hard 6 years, I've done this, I've done that, and they'll tell you their life story, yeah. But is there anything there you're missing out on? You're 100% sure, because sometimes when you look at people that are on it, if you look at a photo from 2 years ago, they've aged about 10 years. That's what I just wanted to discuss, is because it can be misleading. Because I have had guys that came to me and have a realistic goal, and I'm dive in on why you want to achieve this, and why do you think that's impossible? Why do you think that's possible in a 10-week block of training, when obviously they have a lot of work to do, and they show me what they're actually looking at. I'm like, whoa, hold on here, mate.
That guy's probably on gear.
That guy is on gear. Like, you don't go from having no chest, overweight, and then having a chest like fucking Mike Thurston, and
rip to shreds. I don't think people are really, again, like, thinking about the real consequences. Like, to put your life at risk, which in my opinion it is, and certainly some serious negative consequences for a little bit extra muscle. Yeah. If you haven't, especially if you're not competing or you haven't been training for a long time.
Exactly. That's it. Like, if you're competing, it's a total different.
You probably have to even have a chance.
You have to. It's simple as that. But if you're just doing it because you think it's gonna make you, say, a better coach, or you think that you need it for status, because like, we all have insecurities about our body, yeah. But obviously, men do it is because, what I gather, and I've spoke to people about this in the past, is they want to go on it because they want to look big and buff on a night out.
Yeah, probably.
And then they're big and buff on a night out, but they're also taking...
I think a lot of it's just being lazy. And yeah, it takes fucking years to build considerable muscle. But I think, like, people that are new to training and they jump on it, it's just so naive. You're going to get such good results anyway.
There's an insecurity there as well. It's not just a matter... there is an insecurity in there as well. Like, why do you want to get bigger?
Yeah.
What's the motive behind that?
Yeah, true. And it is an ego thing, isn't it, for sure? But so, do you think if you were on it and your business is about body transformations, do you think you would openly do it, or would you ignore it?
See, this is the thing. I do understand the situation. I understand why people don't, because it does. Like, for an example, if you have a big following and you're a coach and you deny at the start that you're on it, you're not really going to come out and say, I'm on it now, because it could tarnish.
I'm sure it probably would, yeah.
Depending on the client you're coaching. Now, if you're just coaching, I think it's okay if it's men that are in, like, gym heads. You know what I mean? They're always in the gym. I'm not talking about people that just come into the looking to get fit and stuff like that. What about yourself?
For me, like, people have always asked me about this. Like, I would never do it because, one, I train for health, and for me, the body that I want, like, my ideal is just a better version of what I've got now. It's not being massive and jacked, and I don't really want my bollocks to shrink to the size of marbles either, and all the acne that you can potentially get because of that testosterone imbalance and whatnot. If I was on it, I've always said, because I'm an extremely honest person, I would say, yeah, I would. But the more and more you think about it, you think, if you've got a business, I'm sure it wouldn't do it much good, would it? So, mate, I don't know. I don't know if I would or not. I mean, I don't. I'd just suddenly go out there. Yeah, I've jumped on juice, but it's hard if you're asked something to then just publicly lie, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's still a grey area, isn't it, in the industry?
But there's certainly a lot of people on it. I mean, I competed not in bodybuilding but in men's physique twice, And I remember thinking, right, well, it's men's physique, it's not bodybuilding, it's just who's most ripped. And I got as shredded as I could possibly get. I turned up and I was dwarfed by these guys that were talking about the cycles they're on. They're juiced up, they're like 20 kilos heavier than me for the same height. And I just then I realised, like, even at that level, like, everyone's taking it.
Would you consider hormone replacement therapy when you get
later on? See, I don't know a lot
next
about
year.
It. Well, we're getting closer to 40, but I only really know about that really from Joe Rogan, what he said, and I can see now how that could be beneficial.
Yeah, of course.
Especially when you're still training, you still want to preserve muscle or whatnot. Yeah. I don't see. I mean, that could probably be a good thing. I don't know anything about it, but I imagine when testosterone levels are plummeting like that, doing something like that, bringing them back to a natural good level is probably beneficial for you, right? And certainly energy levels and stuff. So maybe one day, I'll say probably not too long, the way I'm going now. But yeah, we'll see. So what is your kind of goal with regards to your own training? Like, what is the reason you train, and what are you looking to sort of get from your physique?
I've actually just took back an old coach of mine. So it's just to tidy up my physique a bit, to be honest. And then just go in and just add some lean tissue mass. That's what I just, like I said, with training, for me, it's just a part of life now, isn't it? It's just like, I don't like, obviously that's why you have to be understandable when you're coaching clients. It's not like me and you where you just train. Doesn't matter how we feel, we just train.
Yeah, and we kind of enjoy it, don't
so
we?
I enjoy the feeling I get from it, and mentally as well. Like, sometimes I could be stressed and then go and do a session, like, thank God I done that. And then it just makes me feel good as well. What about yourself?
See, I'm not someone that's ever suffered with poor mental health, but I actually think that is largely due to the fact I've always been engaging in exercise, whether it be sports, the gym, stuff like that. For me, though, I have noticed if I do go a few days without, my mood is definitely less. Yeah. And I'm always going to feel better when I'm training. Yeah. And a lot of that is obviously to how it makes you look.
Of course.
But for me, still very much train for appearance. I like to feel good. I like to, from my opinion, look better. I like to be leaner because it makes me feel good. But just, I think there's something about, I think every guy, and I know everyone's doesn't have the same 24 hours. Everyone's busy, blah, blah. Some people have family, kids. I think everyone should be going every guy especially should be going in the gym, whether it be once a week or 4 times a week.
Yeah, of course.
They should be training. They should be like looking after their health. They should be stronger. Yeah. Whereas a lot of men are not, and they know a lot of. I mean, I've trained a lot of females over the time, and they are stronger than their husbands. Like, and they've told me about this, how they couldn't lift this. Went, oh no, mind yourself, and she's gone and done it and lifted the bloody telly herself. Like, at the end of the day, like, I think as a bloke, you should be lifting weights, you should be strong, you should be fit, and everyone, male or females, should be looking after their health as a real priority. And I think the problem with a lot of people is they don't value their health.
Yeah, exactly. You said there you didn't have any mental issues growing up. Was there any part of your life where you felt a bit, where am I going in terms of?
Just a bit lost with vision. Probably. I felt very lost actually when I left sixth form, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, my dad, going back to what we said at the start, my dad said to me, "I want you like be an electrician or a plumber, like really, good money. It's always in demand." I would have fucking hated it. Absolutely hate it. And I was really into sports. I was like, right, sports coaching is a thing, or a PE teacher. And then I went to college solely to really try and find out what the fuck I wanted to do. So I was definitely lost with my long-term vision then. And then, college, my lecturer actually, Gav, so big shout out to Gav, was a legend. We got on really well. He went to Chichester University, and he's like, "You're very sociable and you're actually smart when you put your mind to it. You should go to uni." And I thought, I like sport. If I go and do a sports degree, maybe I can get into sports coaching or obviously PE teacher. So I did a sport and exercise science, which would have then given me a chance to do 1 year and become a PE teacher. And that's when I actually got into the gym, was really at university properly. And that's when I left uni, I had an option to either do my PGCE, and be a teacher, doing 1 year's qualification, or work doing a GTP, which is then you work while you're then qualifying. A lot of work, and then I decided that I didn't really have a passion for that, and I transformed my physique and was really into the gym at that point. So then I was like, right, I'm going to work in the gym. I'd like to better do this and coach other people, and that's where it led on obviously to PT and then online coaching as well. So I definitely felt a little bit lost then. I definitely felt lost when I ended that long-term relationship. Hence why I was like wanted to go travelling, because I've been slaving away, and I'm a little bit lost here. I've always wanted to travel, and that's when I then thought, well, I'm happy to even quit this to go travelling. If they're not going to let me go away for more than 2 weeks, then I'm going to do it anyway. So they're probably the 2 points in my life where I felt pretty lost. And I think that's perfectly normal. Everyone,
of course,
never has a clear vision. What about you?
Yeah, I was lost. I was definitely lost. I was definitely lost from 18 to probably 25. Just doing the same thing, no purpose. Now I never had depression or anything like that, but I had times where in my life I'm like, is this all like go to work, go on the drink, go back into work, repeat, and I was like, this is horrible. So when I start reevaluating my life and looked at what I actually value and what I wanted to do with my life, one, it's like you, training and coaching people, and two, being in a country that is obviously warm. I always wanted to be in a warm country. I just wanted. That's all I wanted. Yeah.
What would you say that your values are now then? What is the most important thing in your life?
Most important thing in my life is... That's a good question. It's very easy to say I just want to be happy, yeah? It's very easy.
What do you think makes you happy?
The life I'm currently living now, being in the sun, training, like I cannot, obviously there's parts of my life I still want to improve. I want to be a bit more productive in certain areas, but the life I'm living right now is absolutely what I've dreamt of since I'm being 18, 19, 20, because I did go travelling before when I was like, I think it was 19, I moved to Australia. I always wanted to move away and try something different. I actually moved to Australia when I was 19, and I was meant to go for, say, a year or two, left after 10 days.
Did you? Why?
Yeah, just homesick. A guy that I went over to at the time, I was meant to work with him, he left, he had issues, personal issues, he left, and I was like, wow, I'm on my own now. And I remember walking around at 19 in Australia thinking, what am I going to do? Like, I was so scared. And I always remember this because before I went away, I remember saying to my mates, I don't really want to go on away party or anything like that, just in case I come home. And there was a big gathering in the local pub, and came home after 10 days, and the abuse I got for coming home for 10 days. I bought you a pint there because you're going away. Yeah. I got that for ages, but then I kind of set back into a routine in Ireland again. I was happy to be home, and then I just felt lost again. I was like, what am I doing here? And that went on for way too long, until I just had the balls really to say, oh, fuck this, going to do what I want to do, and if it doesn't work out, I'll just figure it out along the way. So it's literally the best thing I could advise anybody on is just go with it. Whatever you want to do, go. What is, like as we said about a half an hour ago, what's the downsides?
What's the worst that can happen? Exactly.
Literally, what's going to go back?
Yeah.
And it was the big thing for me coming into this industry was, if it didn't work out, I could just go back. Simple as that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what holds most people back. And we could all watch motivational quotes on Instagram. We can all say this, but it is hard to take that leap. I get that.
Yeah.
But especially for younger people, if you haven't got a family, you haven't got kids, like really there is absolutely nothing stopping you. Yeah. Like you say, you can go there and it can just turn out to be an extended holiday. You can come back, and that's the way I look at anything now. Like, we're always going to regret what we don't do more than what we do.
Exactly.
And if you go, and that's the only reason I went to university actually, when my lecturer was like, go and do it, and I was like, he's like, oh, you have to do a lot of because I was extremely shy even at that age, at 18. Like, my biggest fear was public speaking.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you might have to do a lot of presentations in front of people. I was like, fuck that.
Presentation.
The worst thing.
I done one when I was about 23. I was in this group, it's called BNI, it's like it, because I was doing sales. So I was only like 22, 23, and all these people are like 40, 50s, and you just do your networking, and then you try and get leads from each other. And I remember I had to do a presentation. Oh my God. I remember going up I was doing a presentation. It was shocking. It was only like 4 slides. I got up there and I looked down. I was like, oh, I nearly fainted.
Yeah.
And the presentation you're meant to do, it has to be between a minimum 5 minutes. And I can't, like between 5 and 10 minutes, you can't go over 10 minutes because there's other people doing them. My presentation lasts 90 seconds.
Yeah.
So I just sat down. I was like, get me out.
It nearly stopped me going.
Yeah.
So I'd have to do that.
The experience of doing it, like honestly, I didn't think it at the time. The confidence I gained just from that experience alone. So yeah, but back to when you say what makes me happy, I'll tell you what actually makes me happy. Waking up in the morning, going for a walk,
Your coffee.
grabbing my coffee, training clients, sitting out in the sun.
Yeah.
Boom, bosh. What about yourself?
The sun makes a hell of a difference. I always lived for summer, and then we'd get around, and some summers we'd have the most shocking summer. We get about 5 days of sun all summer, and I used to obviously, well, like a lot of people do, they live for their 1 week holiday a year or so, don't they? And that's what the realization when I come to Dubai. I think you've got living in a hot country, you kind of take the sun for granted, but you don't have to spend every waking minute in the sun when it finally pops out. I remember, like, people take sick days at home, don't they, when it's a hot day, because they want to sit out in the garden. But the difference in mood being in the sun, which is why I advise
100%.
everyone and clients that do suffer with their mental health, get yourself outdoors. Now, whether it's sunny or not, you've got
100%.
to take yourself away from screens. You've got to get some fresh air, and if you can embark on regular exercise, you will be 100 times
Exactly.
better.
I said this to you the other day where I was doing a bit of work in the morning. I was like, oh, I just feel horrible today. And I literally went out on a walk. I was like, wow, feel 10
Change.
times better.
Yeah.
It was literally just like that. When in 5 minutes, boom.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, like just take that leap was the reason why I went to university. It's the reason why I'm even here now from Dubai. And I put this on my Instagram the other days. The best thing that's ever happened to me is when I've taken a fair risk.
Yeah.
Like I had a full PT diary, earning good money. And I had to kind of give that up to take the plunge online and to move out here. But, you know, the best thing I ever did, hands down. And like you say, it's hard to look back now, isn't it? Like living this lifestyle in Dubai, you can't really imagine going back to your old life anymore,
No
can
chance. Like I went home in September, first time in a year. I was going to do a month at home. And I literally done 5 days. I was like, oh, I need to go now.
Yeah.
I was like, great seeing my mates, seeing my family. But after that, I'm being like, here.
That's why I did only 1 week at home this Christmas, just gone, instead of 2 weeks the year before, because it was too much.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, great seeing family for that time, but the weather out here is perfect that time of year, and I just wanted to get back.
Yeah.
Get back here, get that routine back, and just everyone's so negative back at home, it seems.
Well, there is a part of me, because I still have my grandparents as well. It's a bit like, probably only see them once a year now.
Yeah.
And that's a bit shit. Because I don't want to, like, say further down the line and somebody passes at home, it's like, could have made the effort of being home more or bring them over to me. So that kind of still plays on my mind a bit.
I think it's the only downside.
It's
is
literally
being away
the only
from family.
downside is if something happened, you're like, should I really spent like going home for a week? Should I spend more time? Should I get them over here? So that's the only thing I would say.
That's why I definitely make a commitment to either like fly my mum out here maybe once a year, but to go home 2 or 3 times a year, because I remember seeing this thing on social media, and it was saying like, you know, how old are your parents? Say 60, for example. 80 maybe being the standard lifetime. If you see them once a year, that's 20 occasions you're going to see your parents.
Yeah, it's
That's
scary
fucking
when you put it that way.
And I remember once someone I know here as a coach who is very, very driven with his work. He said that he's not going home for Christmas because he's on a good run with work.
Yeah, it's a fine balance.
What, so you're going to not see your family? I don't think that's a good balance at all.
That's what I'm saying.
What's
you need
more
a fine, but
important?
you need a fine. There's a fine balance where doing too much.
That's why I'd always go home for Christmas, because like I've got a big family, and my dad's side is especially a large family. We have a great meet up on Boxing Day, have such a laugh, have some drinks, play some games, and these like my cousins and stuff I get on really well with. I only really see them once or twice a year, really. So like that for me, like it's worth paying for the flight. It's worth going home and the time and energy put into it, 100% just for that one day alone. And then to see my mum and family. I'm very close to my mum. So for me, I think you have to sometimes put it in perspective, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
For sure. Well, thank you very much for chatting today. It's been great having you in. It's flown nicely.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've got everything we wanted to kind of say for a first episode. So
pleasure, mate.
Thanks again, and thanks for listening to the first episode. And we'll see you at the next one.